Hello and a very warm welcome to Lightroom Stories Live. We have got such an exciting hour ahead. We have Kelsey in the studio, who I'm going to introduce in a moment. I'm Elspeth. I'm going to be kind of, well, following your lead and learning a lot throughout the night. And hopefully you can stick with us for the next hour because we are going to be talking all about Kelsey's styling photo shoots, locations for photo shoots, and really importantly, how Kelsey edits using Lightroom as well. So hello, Kelsey, welcome.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Really good, thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, I've kind of started to introduce you, but very importantly, obviously, your Instagram is Kelsey in London. So Kelsey Heinrichs, we've talked about your surname, because you're half Dutch, aren't you?
Yes, yes.
Which is really interesting. So Kelsey Heinrichs, Kelsey in London is the Instagram, over 150,000 followers, that's quite a lot of pressure, isn't it?
I mean, it isn't. I mean, I still, feel like it's only 100 because you just think like, it's just so humbling. I think that many people follow me and I wouldn't be here without them. So yeah, I'm
really
very thankful.
Nice.
Yeah.
So welcome to all of you. So tonight, for the next hour, as I said, we're talking about sort of styling photo shoots. We've got some really exciting things coming up. We're actually going to do a live photo shoot as well. But before I go too much into what we're going to be doing, I have to tell you about a competition we've got running because it's over this hour. You've got a little job to do. And it's not going to be announced tomorrow, not going to be announced next week. Tonight, at the end of this hour, one of you will be winning a very, very cool prize. So thank you to Lightroom. It will be a starter kit, won't it, for a photography shoot. So what's in that starter kit?
Well, I think the biggest prize to mention is the 1-year subscription to Adobe Lightroom, which is amazing. Like, I'm really jealous. I wish I could win that. That's everything you need to like get started, I think. Okay. And then on top of that, I'll also be giving away like kind of a photo shoot starter pack. So basically, these items are what I would bring on every photo shoot with me.
Talk me through them.
Yeah, so it's a whole range of different stuff, and some of them might look a bit weird. You might be thinking like, why are they in there? But we've got a water bottle because I think it's always important to stay hydrated on photo shoots.
Yeah.
We've got like
I bet it's a really cute water bottle.
Yeah, of course, it's like stylish.
Instagrammable.
Yeah. We've got like a little jewelry bag, so I use that to kind of organise my accessories when I'm changing outfits and things like that, so you kind of keep them safe and protected. There's also makeup thinning spray because obviously if you've got a big shoot day, you want everything looking flawless.
Especially if it's a day like today, so hot.
So hot.
It.
And then we've also got like a little, I don't know what it's called, it's like a handheld fan.
Okay.
And these can be used like as a prop in the photo, but also like you might have a bit of movement, actually get your hair flowing, or like
you want a bit of Mariah Carey,
exactly.
wind machine moment.
Yeah, and we've also got a Vogue covers book, so this is really great to like reference posing and things like that.
Brilliant.
If you're inspired.
Which we are going to talk a lot more about posing because I just have no idea, and you're just the expert, you know.
I figured out along the way, yeah.
And now you're going to share it with us. It's very exciting. So that's what you get in this pack, the kit, and of course a year subscription to Lightroom, which we're going to talk about a lot more. So that's basically the competition. Now what you need to be doing is commenting in the box below your favourite travel destination for photo shoots, okay? So do it throughout this hour. Don't wait until 8 o'clock because we'll be gone and you won't have won. So we're not waiting till tomorrow or next week. Tonight, now is the time you need to be commenting your favourite travel destination, and at random, one of you is going to win that fantastic prize in less than an hour. Okay, but we've got a lot to get through before then, right? So what we are doing with this fabulous lady, I just can't wait to get started with you, is we're going to be talking about how to pick locations and having a chat about colour and style here, aren't we?
Yeah, basically I'll be talking through like why I choose a certain location, how do I find these locations, how I travel to them, all the kind of planning that goes into it. There's definitely a lot to consider that what goes into image, and I always start with the location first.
That's the first thing you start with. So that's what we're going to start with today because it kind of makes sense. Then we're going to shimmy on over to another part of the studio, because we've got a beautiful studio we're in tonight, and we're going to talk through styling, really, how you style a shoot, which is, of course, really essential, right?
Yeah. I think when you're going to be in the image, there's so many different elements to consider. So talking about the outfits, the kind of props and accessories that I use, where I find these, what colours I use, what I pair it with, and how it matches the background. So yeah, definitely a lot to consider there.
So a lot to consider, and we're going to go over all of that. And I'll tell you in a moment about questions, how you can ask questions, because that's really key as well. But after we've talked through styling, we're actually going to have a photo shoot. I've been told I might have a little role to play. I might be holding some props, which I'm quite excited about. But you've got a friend joining us, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got Grace joining me today. So she's a professional photographer, but she's also my friend. So I prefer to shoot my friends, girlfriends, or my partner.
Okay.
Because I think
Why is
that's,
that?
I just, it's where I'm most comfortable. You can have a bit of a laugh, a bit of a play around, so nothing really feels stiff.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got like a little location set up. We've got our props, and we'll actually be taking through, how I take the photo, what equipment I use, what kind of lighting I recommend, and everything from, the start and finish.
This is so brilliant. If you're someone like me who just has no idea about Instagram, or if you want to get into blogging and being an influencer, like it's all going to be here in the next hour, isn't it? So after the shoot, we come back to the sofa and the real fun begins.
Yeah.
Editing using Lightroom. So what are you going to be doing there briefly?
Well, yeah, I'll be taking, from start to finish, I'll be editing first on my mobile, and then I'll be doing like the final touches on my desktop, because I like to show the transition between the two devices. But yeah, I'll be using like all the different tools like light, color, contrast, things like that. And then I'll also be using the healing brush. So I feel like a lot of people don't know how to use that tool, and it's actually
and it sounds scary, but I bet it's...
Yeah, it's actually very easy to use, and I think that's what I really want to show today, is how to get into that.
Okay, so we've got a lot to get into. So we're going to be doing lots of editing there, and then, of course, we will be revealing who has won the competition. But here's where you come in now as well. You are bound to be sitting at home with burning questions for Kelsey. Now, of course, you've done some great tutorials already, haven't you, with Lightroom, which you can find on Kelsey's Instagram page and your website, isn't it? Which is kelseyin.london.com. But now we're live. This is your chance to literally chat with Kelsey, to extract all this wisdom from this beautiful lady. So what you need to do is get your questions in now throughout the next hour. Maybe you don't know what you want to ask yet, and it might pop into your head when we're talking about clothes or whatever. Just ask the question in the comments box underneath, and we will be asking that, and Kelsey's going to be answering it live. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about locations, because you said that's the first thing you start with. Now, that's so interesting. I wouldn't know where to start. So why do you start with location first?
I mean, you could do it in any order. You could start with an outfit, and then that inspires the location. But for me, I just like an excuse to maybe look at, some flights online and start planning my next holiday. Yeah, so basically I will always start probably on either Instagram or Pinterest and kind of see where other people are going to.
Okay.
I'll start kind of creating a mood board, and then I'll kind of base my decision on flights. And because, it can be really expensive to travel, but my tips are to always travel like off season, so you get the cheaper flights and also like cheaper hotels and things like that. It's also less busy as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, upcoming I've got some trips to Paris and Portugal.
Nice.
And then once I've decided on an actual country or a city, that's when I'll kind of do my more in-depth research, and I'll kind of go on the Instagram Explore page or the tag places and find the locations. Yeah, it's a very detailed operation. I'm definitely a massive planner, but I feel
like a location scout for a big Hollywood film. I love it. It's brilliant.
Exactly, but I always say, if you're more organized, then you'll have more time to do fun things. Kind of take your photos and have a cocktail at the end of the day. So
do the prep. It's all in the prep, and then you can enjoy yourself.
Exactly.
So you touched on it there, but do you have any real insider tips on traveling on a budget? Because like you say, you want to get all these great locations in your Instagram, but you haven't got thousands of pounds at your fingertips. Well, I don't anyway.
I certainly don't. Yeah.
So any tips when you travel? What do you do?
Well, I will first start by looking at the flights and then kind of seeing when is the cheapest time to travel. And then in terms of hotel, I do think if you're going there, you're not really going to be spending much time in a hotel. As much as it is nice to spend, some really luxurious place. Yeah. I usually just book in a hostel because, I'll just be outside most of the time.
Anyway. Yeah, exactly.
So I'd rather spend my money on the experiences and kind of really enjoying the travel as I go along.
Nice. And, down to shooting then when you get there, or, before you get there, where's your favourite destination to shoot?
Oh, definitely, I think Italy. And I know that might be influenced because I love pizza and gelato. But I just think it's so many different beautiful landscapes. All the kind of reds and oranges and pinks in the buildings is it's unlike anything else.
Okay, and so you get to this location, Italy. You've had your pizza for breakfast, lunch and dinner.
Yep.
The next day you get shooting. What's the best time of day to shoot?
I would definitely recommend, because I always get asked, how do you not get anyone else in your shots? And it definitely takes dedication. It's up to you whether you want to do this, but I will always try to get to, so it's definitely a monument or something like that. I try to go there pretty much at the crack of dawn. So when winter, it's great, because that's at 9 a.m., but in summer, it does mean getting up early.
4 a.m., isn't it?
Yeah, but places like the Trevi Fountain, we arrived there on our first day, and by 12 p.m., it was just absolutely busy. You couldn't even...
It's too much.
Yeah, you could not enjoy it just as a tourist, I guess. So actually coming back the next morning at 7 a.m., it was completely bare, and not only did you get a great shot, but also you can just enjoy the monument for what it is and just take time to, have a look at it.
That's brilliant. And so, well, you kind of answered my question in terms, I was going to ask you what the best light is. So is it the morning light, or are you really working around the crowd?
I think I'm really working around the weather app because,
okay.
you know, if it's an overcast day, it doesn't matter what time of day you're shooting. But I think no matter what the lighting conditions, if it's sunny, overcast, or even drizzly, I think you can always make it work. And if not, like Lightroom's there to help fix it later.
Yeah, exactly, which is where we'll get into. Like, it's mind-blowing. Okay, so say you can't fly to Italy, which is a shame, but you know, you did a walk around Notting Hill recently. You know, when people want to shoot locally, how can they find a location in their neighbourhood even?
That's the thing, obviously my username is Kelsey in London, so I'd love to be able to show the kind of hidden gems in your own city, because often you don't have the time or the money to travel. So I definitely think, again, getting on Instagram, kind of exploring those tags, so you can look at a certain area. Or
so what kind of tag?
Like you could search Notting Hill, and from there, on that kind of hashtag page, you could see where other people have shot, and then you can go kind of save those pins and refer back to it later.
Ah, that's so interesting. Okay, so you find that local place, and then I guess then you pick the time of day, and you know, you basically. So if you were like in London, so I'm jumping. I've got so many questions in my head. I don't even know where to start.
Got a lot to cover.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I ask? Don't forget to get your questions in as well in the comments box, so I don't go, oh my gosh, I'm going to implode. Locally, what's your best kind of location? Not like place, but you know, backdrop.
Yeah.
Would it be something natural? Would it be a building? What would it be for you?
It definitely depends on the season, because obviously in spring we have so much choice. There's the cherry blossoms and the wisteria, which adds a lot of natural colour. But on the kind of off seasons where it's just so gloomy, I do try to kind of go for those colourful backdrops, so colourful walls and murals or shops like that.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah. Now, before we move on to our next section, so we talked about location, we're going to talk about styling, which I'm really excited about. Just want to remind you about the competition. If you've just joined us, this is Lightroom Stories Live. We've got Kelsey in London here on the sofa to answer your questions about anything, well, fashion related. I don't know, you know, what you have for breakfast. So
I'll go there.
We'll go there. So get your questions in the comments box, but also you've got the competition running, so you need to comment your favourite travel destination to shoot. So it could be Bognor Regis, it could be Australia, it could be anywhere. But you just need to type it in, and at random, at the end, you're getting a year's subscription free at Lightroom and a whole starter kit that Kelsey's put together for your photo shoots. So, thank you for talking us through location. Now, very importantly, clothes, accessories, and props. So should we head over?
Yeah, head over to our styling room.
Have a little look over there. I just love this setup already.
I mean, it's a bit of me, obviously, visually.
It's a lot of you, I know, and it's so good. And any, you know, of course, people watching at home are already fans.
Yeah.
So just talk us briefly through what you've picked.
Yeah. So basically, when I arrive to any photo shoot location, I will always bring lots of different options with me. I mean, as much as my little suitcase can carry. As you can see, I've got like a very defined color palette.
I know, I love it. So,
yeah.
So you're known for your sort of neutrals.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, sometimes I will kind of break out and wear like a very bright red piece if it matches the background, but this is kind of my personal everyday style. So what I'll kind of wear just around London town kind of thing. It's what I'm comfortable in.
I mean, I love everything. I love what you're wearing. I love everything you picked.
I also think if you stick to a color palette, it's just a lot easier. It's a lot quicker to put together an outfit if everything already matches. So yeah, I think it's taken me a long time to kind of develop this personal style, but yeah, it's what I feel most comfortable in, yeah.
Something I'm dying to know is, you know, I know that pink really doesn't suit me, but I don't know why. How do you go about finding that colour palette that suits you?
Well, I remember my mum did this to me when I was really young.
Okay.
There actually are colour charts. I think it's...
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so I'm a winter apparently, so I look really good in blacks, reds, whites.
Oh, right.
I couldn't pull off
so
a peach.
Seasonal.
Yeah,
okay.
So it actually has a lot to do with your skin tone. So I'm pretty sure you could look it up online. You could just have a Google. It basically goes off like whether you're olive or like pink tone and things like that.
Right.
And that's kind of, yeah, I would love to wear a peach dress, but it would just look crap on me. So I'm not going there. So yeah.
So have a look at a colour chart.
Yeah, a colour chart.
Find out your colour and then kind of stick roughly to that palette and you're always going to look great.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you always do. Fantastic. So you've got the neutral colours and you use accessories for props a lot, don't you? Why is that?
That's because I feel like I never know what to do with my hands. I think a lot of people might experience this when they're taking photos. They're always like,
really awkward.
What do I do with my hands? So that's why I use props. It's just easy to kind of grab something. So yeah, I've got...
beautiful pieces down here.
Yeah, obviously color-coded. So a lot of bags and accessories because you know, later when we go through the posing and stuff, I'll show how this works.
Yeah.
Bags, hats, obviously, you know, it's still very hot at the moment, so these are always great to kind of grab and throw around.
These are going to be used, by the way, in action in a bit, aren't they?
And just different like accessories in case I'm kind of changing up a look or, you know, styling of a different piece. Yeah.
Wicked. And when you shop, because I presume your wardrobe is very enviable, how do you shop? Like, say, I don't know, if you want something specific or a new season, how do you go about finding the pieces you want?
I mean, I think, again, it comes back to like the kind of mood boarding at the start. I'll definitely always save pieces I'm very inspired by and then try to find those online or in thrift shops. So I feel like it's a lot quicker and easier to have an idea in mind. Like you might want a certain denim jacket and then kind of hit the shops or hit online and see if you can find something very similar. Yeah.
And, you know, should people experiment? You know, you say obviously you find your colour palette, which I think is really good advice. And what about when it comes to experimenting and getting out of your comfort zone with fashion?
I think so, because the thing is, when you experiment, like, there's no harm in it. If you don't like it, it didn't work out, like, it's no harm done. You just don't have to post the photo. So a lot of the time, I will experiment with different colours and outfits, and sometimes it does work, even though I thought it doesn't. And then, other times I'm just like, okay, let me just hide that, and that never sees a light of day. So. Yeah. And
I guess as well, like, just thinking of, you know, the people, like, you're obviously super confident in your style and you look amazing in everything. And maybe if people are watching at home that they're not so confident and they're not sure where to start, like, how do you start from scratch with style, really? I mean, you know, we'll go into photos in a moment, but with your own style, with finding that style confidence, what do you think you should
I think what helped me in the start was kind of getting advice from friends and family and maybe going shopping with someone that you feel comfortable with and getting their advice on it, because I think they will, you know, you've got to treat yourself like you would your best friend.
Yeah,
and
so, that's really
hearing
nice
compliments from them will really bring out your confidence.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And talking to friends, soon we've got your friend coming to join us, haven't we?
Yes.
Which is Grace. So why have you picked a friend today? I mean, you mentioned it briefly earlier.
Yeah.
Why would you not have a professional photographer or, you know, a budding photographer to come and take your photos?
I mean, to be completely honest, like, it is something to keep in mind in budget. Like, they do cost money, and even though they're very professional at their job, I do prefer shooting with friends because I do have my own camera equipment. I've already invested a lot of money into that, so therefore I prefer shooting with my boyfriend or my friends.
Yeah.
It's just a lot more fun as well because you can kind of turn it into a social date as well.
Yeah. That's really good. And I've still got so many more questions. I could be here all day with this beautiful lady, and it's just so good finding out all the secrets. If you have your questions, please do drop them in the comment box, and I'll be able to ask them. I'm going to get them answered in just a moment. So is there anything else actually, I know what I wanted to say. Colour with photos. So I know we've talked about colour for your personal style. What about when it comes to your photography? How do you go about picking colour there?
In terms of the backgrounds, I don't like to limit myself. I used to do that in the past, and that meant like I wouldn't travel to certain places or take photos there. So I have a pretty like rainbow coloured feed in terms of the backgrounds.
That's really nice.
However, I think the thing that keeps it consistent is my colour palette of my clothes.
Yeah.
So you could be the opposite. You could have a really neutral background, but always colourful clothing. So I think that's what ties it really well together.
And actually, that kind of brings me really perfectly into something I have no idea about, is your Instagram feed. You're talking about, you know, some people stick to one colour, some you like to have it multicoloured. How do you manage your feed, and how often should you post? I mean, how do you manage your
There's
Instagram?
so many different
I know, I don't know what
it's hard to keep
I want
up.
to know everything. 1 hour's not enough, guys. Sorry.
Well, in terms of the feed, again, like we've written like a really amazing blog post on the Adobe blog all about it. So I can, you know, if you want any more details, go on there later. But in the basic, my top tip is to have the kind of editing style to tie it all together. So kind of creating that preset in Lightroom, which like no matter where you're shooting, what kind of colors, as long as you have that kind of signature edit, it will really tie everything all together.
So Lightroom is really what makes it look professional and like just pleasing to the eye. Because I find with my Instagram, you know, I've got one picture here, one over there, and it's such a mishmash and you don't know where to look.
Yeah, that's my biggest tip because I feel like once you do that, then it just really flows well together.
That's brilliant. Okay, so we're about to get Grace in and we're going to have some fun and
exciting.
Do some shots. Any tips before we start there? You know, like at the start of a photo shoot, what do you do?
Maybe have a shot of gin. No,
have a shot of gin.
Depending on where I am, I think it really helps putting on some music. We won't do that now because I think we'll kind of, but just something you don't get a bit into the moment.
Bit of music. So you're trying to get a bit of a fun atmosphere and get your confidence out.
It's just a bit of a play, really. So it's nothing too serious. I think that's important too.
So that's the thing. I think that's what makes it scary, isn't it? Because you kind of go, okay, this is really serious, and actually it's all fun. And when you look at your feed, it's all fun. Okay, we're going to have a Blue Peter moment and enter your friend Grace. So Grace is going to be, hello Grace.
Hi Grace.
Grace is going to be doing some shots with you now, and we're going to have a play around with props, aren't we?
Yeah.
And some flowers as well in a bit. So talk us through then how you start.
Well, yeah, there's a lot to cover when it comes to kind of the actual photo taking process, and got Grace in today, which is really handy. But like one thing I get asked a lot is like my camera equipment. Grace today is using a Canon camera, but I typically use 2 cameras. So I have a Canon camera, which is kind of the big bulky ones that you see, and then I also have a small Olympus camera. So those are great for like when you're going on holiday and you just want to put a little camera in a purse. Otherwise, I think you can just use your iPhone. If anyone's just beginning, iPhones, you know, Android, whatever, they're great. Like they just keep getting better and better, the cameras, definitely.
So I was going to ask you really, you know, is there any particular lens? But you're saying you can use anything.
Yeah.
And I guess because you're editing with Lightroom, it's all about the art.
That's the thing, yeah.
As well.
I never like tend to worry too much if something's not working exactly when taking the photo, because I just know I can fix it later in Lightroom.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to kind of just let you do your thing for a minute. I mean, grab some props, and we really want to know about posing. I need to know about posing. So I would just go, hello. So I'm going to grab.
For me, the biggest thing with posing is, I mean, obviously I'm not a model, so I don't have any experience in this. So what I used to work with models, so I would kind of, you know, note what they would be doing. And I think to make images not look so stiff is just to be constantly like moving around and shooting as you're moving. So you get that more like natural poses.
Nice, so movement all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll see like this hat is like, it's the hat that keeps on giving. It's in pretty much 50% of my photos. Because a lot of times, like sometimes I just don't feel like I want my face in the shot. Like I might just be feeling a bit crap. So often you'll see a lot of, you know, these ones from the back and things like that, or just throwing the hat.
Cute, yeah.
Classic hat throwing shot. Like, you know, you can do a lot with the hat. And you just kind of like swing around, and Grace will kind of be shooting as I go around and stuff like that.
Does it matter what kind of hat? Or does it depend on the shoot? Or because I love that hat, very classy. But could you have like a baseball hat?
Yeah, you could have a beret. Like you can go crazy. Like you don't have to wear a hat at all. But it works great with like sunglasses, bags.
Okay, so it's not just
scarves and accessories.
That's
yeah,
brilliant.
I think it's just easier because you can just kind of grab a hold onto something. Because otherwise, you don't want to do like any like Vogue poses. That's just weird. Like on Instagram, you want to kind of keep it real. So you would naturally be holding a handbag as you kind of about on the day. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, should we have a little look at another accessory? Yeah. How you might use that then? I'll take you out for your accessory assistant. Yeah, so we do have some flowers today, which I'm using the shot to kind of add a lot more colour. We've got this yellow backdrop. I've got this kind of like contrasty dress. So while you've got that bag, maybe take some pictures. We're just having a play about now. This is a rehearsal. But it'd be great to see, how it actually goes. We're seeing behind the curtain here. It's brilliant. Yeah, I feel like one of those like ASOS models who just constantly, you just kind of like, I love it. Keep moving, and you can even talk as you go through, because then I think that looks more candid. And and you're just snapping away, Grace, as well. I love that. Candid, essentially. Totally candid. And I always like, for me personally, I don't have eye contact with the camera. For me, like, and my kind of aesthetic, that's a bit intense, I think. Okay. So, yeah, I'll kind of like look down to the side. Around, I think there's always that meme, like, oop, I've dropped something. And it's like. Is that a good one, is it? It makes no sense, but it kind of works on the image. So. Remember that, oops, I dropped something. Yeah. Okay. So, just a lot of movement, because I think when you take the shot, you just get like, especially with long dresses and maxi dresses, which I've worn today, you'll just kind of get that flowing movement. Okay, brilliant. That's going to stick with me now. Oops, I dropped something. You're just going to make it look so much more glamorous than me. That's the problem. What else? So you've got different bags. What are, going back to sort of a specific style perspective, why these bags? I mean, these are kind of like on trend at the moment, so I'll kind of, I might kind of stick to very like ongoing pieces, so I try to be a bit, sustainable, but we'll buy like some trend. 2 bags, why not? 2 bags. I mean, this is a bit excessive, but if you were doing a more like. Hand you everything. Go. I will just switch this one, but. Okay. If you were, depending on what you're shooting, if you want the whole outfit, but if you want those kind of detailed shots, you can get in really close, or Grace can kind of, she can kind of go from a low angle and get like, a bit of my shoe and a bit of my bag in like that and stuff like that. So. And it's interesting you've gone to the side. You know, when you're actually posing, what's most flattering for anyone's figure? Is it from the side, the front? Is there kind of a leg pose you do? Yeah. Well, I'm clueless. I'm really short, so I think a lot of people always think I'm taller from my Instagram. Oh, that's clever. So you're obviously doing a trick. Yeah. So the trick is to shoot from low. Okay. So I'll literally get my friends to sit in the gutter and take a photo of me. So Grace will go down really low, and she's basically shooting up with her lens, and that will kind of elongate my legs, which aren't very long to begin with. So that's kind of like a little hack. Really if you were taller, then obviously you would shoot from above. Okay.
if I'm doing more crop photos, then I kind of will just shoot at eye level and stuff. So yeah.
And so for a complete beginner like me, who just, I mean, I'm never going to tell you what my Instagram is. I'm too embarrassed. What's the most simple, best pose? You know, if you're really, really nervous and you've never done it before, what would you suggest as your starter pose?
I would, like, if you're shooting with someone, I would get them to crack a really inappropriate joke at you, and then you would just naturally, I'll get that all the time, like, if I'm shooting with someone else, I'll just make fun of them or, like, throw insult to them just to kind of get them out of that shell, and then naturally you'll be like, what the and you kind of, like, will get a kind of look on your face. Yeah, that, for me, is, like, a go-to, and just having that constant movement. I mean, yeah, depending on your body type, I kind of always tend to go, like, a bit side-on, so you're not kind of completely straight and wide.
Okay, I've got a question before we go on to the flowers, which I'm quite excited about. C Pink, thank you for your question, has said, what is your advice for photographing landscape? He loves photographing sunsets.
Oh, amazing.
So what would be your advice on that? I
think depending on the time of day, sunsets, you definitely want to try to get, like, a tripod in shot, like, so you can kind of make sure you have the right exposures is a really important thing. I would really shoot it on a raw image. That basically means you've got technical. Yeah. So basically, I didn't know about like this until I went to university, but most cameras will shoot JPEG. So that basically just means like a flat image. RAWs just have a lot. They're kind of like in layers. They have a lot more information. So that way, if you do overexpose something, so sometimes if you take a photo of your face, but then the sky is like white, even though it was blue.
Yeah, that's odd.
That happens a lot. Yeah. But if you take that in a raw image, then you can fix that later in Lightroom.
So you get it all.
You'll be able to bring back the color. So that's really important for sunsets, I think, to shoot in raw.
So shoot in raw for landscape and sunsets.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your question, C Pink. Right. So I'm going to go give you the hat again and we'll just take a few pictures. And just as if you were having a shoot now.
This is always a go-to.
La, la, la.
Yeah, so like I said, I will just always be like grabbing things as I go along and just kind of smiling. You'll see these poses a lot.
I love it.
I mean, it's not rocket science, but, you know.
Well, it kind of is if you don't know, which I don't know.
I guess
like I say, I'd be going, hi, Mum.
Yeah.
So that's great. It's really cool.
I know a lot of people get like self-conscious, especially when you're shooting in public. Like I used to hate doing it. I would just get so embarrassed. But at the end of the day, I'd be like, literally, like, they're never going to see you again. So I just try to keep reminding myself that. Because I'm like, in the end, I'd rather have the awesome shot than have none at all. So
if you are a budding influencer, just think that. You're never going to see them again. Who cares?
Yeah.
All the fun.
Screw them, basically.
And bring a mate who's going to make you laugh. I was going to ask what the inappropriate joke is, but I think it's probably not broadcastable. Cool. Okay, so we're going to use some flowers, aren't we?
Yes.
Which is this is the shot.
This is the shot. This is the concept.
You did a bit earlier, a bit of shooting earlier, didn't you?
Yeah. So Grace and I we were here in the studio earlier when it was like, it's around 7:30-ish now. Yeah. So it was lots of natural light in. But we're going to still go through and show exactly how we did that shot. The concept for this, I again came across like mid-morning. All the bags and hats.
Accessory assistant.
Yeah.
We'll move these.
So over here we've got. I just went to like the local shop and just bought some bouquets, and then I've also got like a pot of petals. So we're going to be like basically throwing them up and then catching them as they fall down.
Okay.
So I'm also going to grab your help with the flowers and kind of positioning them.
More than happy to do that.
Yeah. So I think if you pick out like the most colourful, like the kind of pinky, reddy ones.
So like
a few of those.
Ones, a bit more. A few more maybe.
That's perfect.
Lovely.
Big bunch, maybe.
Bigger bunch, more. More. I like. So is that another tip? More is more.
More is more. I think.
Because I like that. I like that tip in life generally.
And before I grab the petals, we'll get you over here to kind of get the framing set up.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. So basically, what we're doing
is for this moment.
We're creating kind of layers of depth. So you always want to be standing a bit in front of your kind of backdrop.
So don't have your back against the wall or anything. Okay, brilliant.
Because what we're doing, the lens we're using today, we're creating like a bit of depth of field. So that's basically means like when you see something in an image is out of like a bit blurry. So basically I'll be in focus. These flowers at the front will just kind of have a little blur to them to add colour to the image.
And you're going to tell me where to put them,
yeah. So they're framing like, here I'm doing, it's more of a kind of like a fashion focused image rather than travel, obviously, because we're here in the studio. So it's coming in a bit more cropped here. So usually like when I'm telling my friend, I'll kind of just say like shoot from here up or like this.
So you have this whole vision, exactly how you want the image to look before you get on set.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you have like a bit of a meeting kind of before discussion, or do you just go for it and shoot loads?
I think just go like, as we meet up, we just kind of discuss it beforehand, and then we just kind of experiment as we go on. Like Grace will always have some amazing suggestions for me, so I'll kind of try this first, and then we'll go what she wants, and yeah, it always works out in the end.
It always works out in the end. That's good to know. Okay. Cool. Okay.
So just seeing how this looks with the.
Oh right.
Yeah. So we're just kind of like testing the lighting, things like that, and the positioning. So we're just moving the flowers so they don't really, like cover my face.
Grace has given me some very good tips on where to put the flowers.
So just taking, for now, because when I be throwing up the flowers, it's going to be a real ball ache to pick them up again. So before I do that, I just make sure we got this part of the image right first.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that's good. So we've prepped that part. So now we're getting the petals, are we? So you're throwing the petals, aren't you?
Yes.
Shall I get you the petals? I don't have enough hands here.
Yeah. So I'm just going to take them out of the mug. Hopefully I don't spill too much.
Okay.
Over here.
How exciting. So this is the photo, by the way, that we're going to be looking at you editing in Lightroom in a moment.
This is the final shot.
And keep your questions coming in. Thank you.
One thing I will point out, though, is when you're kind of doing these movement shots, I always feel like you have to pay attention to what your face is doing, because if you're focusing too much on just the throwing action, like a lot of the ways my face just looks really like someone's died or something.
I was just really, really happy.
Exactly. So I'll try to, remind myself to just keep smiling and. Yeah, so I'm gonna go for it now.
Go for it. You do it. Okay, we can't tidy this up again. Okay, so this better be good, Kelsey.
It'll work out fine. But basically, Grace is shooting on high-speed, continuous bursts, so she'll get at least 20 or 30 frames as I do this shot.
Before you do it, then, because there's only one shot. Why do you do that then? So you're doing high-speed.
Burst shooting. So
what do you call it? High-speed continual burst.
It's very, very fast. So basically, as I go up, we'll be able to catch them on different sequences.
Okay.
It's basically just gives us a lot more options so that we can go back, because I don't want to pick these up again and again. So we just want to do it once, basically.
Okay, so I just want to get everything straight. I'm feeling the pressure. These petals got to be picked up. So we've got the petals, you've got the shot, you're away from the backdrop. Any final tips before we throw these petals in the air?
I don't want to be lame, but just have fun.
Just have fun with it. Okay. Yeah. All right. Or maybe we could put the petals. Obviously, you want lots of petals, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm just feeling very nervous about this one.
I mean, if we had some, more friends here, I'd probably get people throwing from different directions and stuff. But this should be right because it will just kind of go up and
I trust
up and
you.
over.
You're the expert. Okay.
All right, we're going to count down.
We're lining the flowers back up. That way. How are we looking? I'm being.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, we're ready.
Okay.
We're ready. This is going to be amazing.
3, 2, 1.
Amazing.
And that's that.
I've just been part of a Kelsey in London photo shoot. feels
Making
good.
magic in the studio.
Very cool.
We'll leave those there for now.
Okay, we've got a question from Alina.
Yes.
We'll leave them. Any tips for shooting with a friend who has no experience with a camera? Because Grace clearly is an expert.
Yeah.
Any tips for that? If you just, getting your mum involved and she's got an iPhone too.
Yeah. I mean, iPhones, again, mobile phones are great because I think they're very easy to use. If you have the camera yourself, so like a digital SLR or, any type of camera, if you already know that camera, I would suggest before your actual shoot day to kind of meet up with your friend or your parent or whatever, and just kind of on a very non-stressful environment, just get them used to the camera.
Oh, that's good.
So a week beforehand, and maybe even lend them the camera and just say, have a play, get them used to it. Because I think, when I'm shooting my friends, I don't know how to use a camera. If they feel a bit more confident with the actual the tools and the settings, then I think it's a lot more easy when shooting.
And what if you don't have, a friend that wants to do it, or a friend that knows how to do it? Are there any, forums or groups or anywhere you can go to find somebody who's up for shooting with you?
mean, if I can shamelessly self-plug, there's a lot of amazing forums online. I have a female support group, so it's called Creative Girl Gang, and basically that's a group where you can join and you can basically ask who wants to shoot this weekend, and it's a very friendly environment. So even if you're a guy, I'm sure there's the equivalent of that. So I would just jump on Facebook.
I think guys could totally get on board with this.
I think anyone appreciate you can just send someone that you follow a message. The worst they can say is no, and I'm sure they wouldn't. So just reach out, I think.
So question from Charlie. One more question before we go and sit down. Did you ever do a course, like a photography course or an editing course or anything like that? Thank you, Charlie, for the question.
Well, I did graphic design at university, and I did have one module in photography. So there I learned the very basics of film photography, shooting on manual and things like that. Then I kind of got a bit out of touch with it over the years, but I know there's some really great, a lot of the camera shops will offer free photography workshops, so I really recommend going along to those and just doing a beginner's workshop just to know the basics.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Wicked. Thank you. And thank you for your questions so far. Keep them coming. Thank you, Grace, so much.
Thanks,
that was awesome. Thank you, me, for being such a good
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you, Amanda. Right, we'll go back to the sofa.
Amazing.
Because this is where the magic's going to happen,
happens,
yeah. I've left my notes over there. You crack on.
I'm
going to grab my notes. It's live television, guys. There's lots to remember here. I'm going to squeeze in front of you. So just to remind you, while I'm very unprofessionally collecting my notes, competition running is that you need to just write in the comments box your favorite travel destination for your photo shoots. And before the end of this hour, I've got no idea what time it is now, we're having so much fun. Okay, so in less than 25 minutes, we will be announcing the winner of a competition where you get Lightroom free for a year, which is fantastic. And you said you wish you could win it, don't you?
I'm jealous.
A starter kit as well with some fantastic
it's like, all the essentials I need for photo shoots. Yeah.
All the essentials, and we'll go over that again in a bit, but literally a whole package ready to go for photo shoots, so very cool. Right, so keep that coming, and keep your questions coming as well. Editing, Lightroom, let's go.
Let's go. So I'm gonna start, I've got my photo up in my mobile Lightroom. So I know like a lot of people might be following along, so I'll try to go slow, and if you have any questions, just send them through as we go along.
Yeah, please do get your questions in, because I'm definitely going to have questions as well. It looks scary, but it's definitely not going to be, is it?
Yeah, so I got the before photo, and I'm very like happy with the color and the composition. You can see the flowers as we were talking previously about like the kind of the depth of field and the blur there. It is a bit dark, and there's a few things I want to do with the color, so kind of maybe looking at that yellow backdrop and changing it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So how I start is I will always start in the light panel. So here is where you can fix your exposure, things like contrast, your shadows, basically correct anything that didn't go right when you were shooting.
Okay, that's
So this
good.
image doesn't need that much, but I will just add a bit of exposure to kind of make it a little more light and bright. For my images, I always try to add more contrast. There's a few ways you can do this. Actually, just by going obviously to the contrast slider. When you start it to the right, it's always going to go a bit more intense.
Yeah.
Sometimes too intense, but I just wanted to show that. So we'll add a bit of contrast there. Then I will bring down the highlights and shadows. So they were kind of, especially, this is like when I was talking about with the sky photo. So if you had a sky that was completely white, I would go to the highlights and the whites.
So highlights and whites brings out the backdrop that you might lose.
Yes.
Because sometimes, I guess, if you focus on the background, you get lost. If you focus on you, so that's how to bring it all back together.
Yeah, bring
that's
it all
wicked.
back there. And then bringing down the blacks will create even more contrast. So you can see there.
Up the whites, down the blacks.
Bring it in my hair there, so it's getting quite a bit darker there. But I'll just do it a tad there. So
such a lovely photo, by the way.
yeah,
Really cool.
so it's only a minor kind of adjustment here in the lighting, but yeah, like I said, we kind of got it right pretty much when we were shooting anyway. So that's the before and after there. Next, I will go to the color panel. So if anyone follows me, will kind of know that most of my images are very like warm, kind of like of a rose gold tone to it.
Okay.
So I do that.
And that's your kind of that's your signature.
Yeah, some people have like more like cool and moody themes for Instagram. So I think it depends what look you're going for.
And if you've just joined us, we were talking about it earlier. That's how to get your Instagram looking really strong, isn't it? To kind of experiment, have fun, but pick a bit of a color theme to work throughout, so it all looks pretty together.
For me, like, because I'm always traveling a lot and going, back home to Australia, back to London when it's winter, I try to always have that warm tone, so it kind of always feels like summer, even if I am shooting in winter. So that's why I do that.
I've got a question from Anna saying, how do you create your own preset? And she loves your work.
Oh, thank you, Anna.
Yeah, thank you, Anna, very much. Good question.
Yeah, presets very, very easy to create. So once I kind of would go through and make adjustments to this image, so a bit of light, a bit of color, maybe making it a bit more sharper. I'll just do a bit of a preview of it now and then kind of go back to the editing.
Okay.
Let's say I had finished my editing and I was happy with it and I'm like, cool, want to make a preset.
Yeah.
You just go along to the presets panel on mobile. So here are some presets I've already made, so you can kind of go back. But you just click the three dots in the corner and then you click create a preset. So that's creating a preset from the settings you currently have on your screen on that photo.
Okay.
Create a preset. Not all these are ticked automatically, but if you did use geometry, optics, or tools, you can make sure you tick those as well. And then you simply just give your preset a name. So I'll just write livestream. Oops, slice, that's awkward. Yeah, and then you just hit done or the tick. So that's now in my preset down below. So if I kind of quickly go back to another photo, let's go to this one, which I wasn't using. Then I would go back to the presets panel. And then I would just find the one that I made earlier. I think it's not working because I'm on airplane mode, but
yeah, we didn't want our phones to ring.
Yeah, when you have this synced up to the 4G or Wi-Fi, then it will come up.
I've got another question. So who's the question from again? Caitlin says, what is your staple tool for Lightroom to make it work? Just your go-to.
I would say
make
it's a pretty firm tie between light and color. I feel like you couldn't make me choose like bullets ahead. I just couldn't because
It's like if you were stuck on a desert island, what would you take?
I feel like light saves an image, like the light tool saves an image, whereas the colour just makes it like something else. That's where you get the real control, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for your question, Caitlin. Okay, yeah.
So going back to the editing, so as I was saying, kind of adding the gold and warmth to the image. This is what I'll do in the temperature and tint. The app is really like user-friendly. You can see the kind of visual clues on which direction to go. So obviously the left-hand side is blue, so that means a more cool tone image. The right-hand side is yellow, so it's more warm-toned. I
have to say, having a look at what you're doing and not having a clue, it does look so user-friendly.
It's very straighthtforward.
Yeah.
And we're all used to like swiping left and right on apps, so it comes, very natural. So I'll just give a quick preview, like that is, I'm a blue alien, and then, that's all sorts of wrong. So I'll kind of just add a bit to left or right.
Just judge it by your own.
Yeah, just a little bit.
How you feel, your instincts.
That's the thing is you can see a preview to see how extreme it can go. Same with the tint, so that's where I always kind of add in that pinkiness there. So you can kind of see that a lot in my skin tone and in the background.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, so only a tad there. It really depends on the image. If I was shooting like on an overcast day, the image would naturally be a lot more cool tone, so that's when I would add a lot more warmth.
It all depends, where you've shot it in the first place.
Exactly.
Okay.
The image, I would say, is already very vibrant and saturated, but if you did need to add it or make it less, you can go into saturation, add a bit more, or a bit more vibrancy. I tend to use vibrancy over saturation because I feel like it brings out the more natural colours.
Okay.
Yeah. But you can see if it's looking too weird.
I've got another question.
Yeah.
From Tiana, and Tiana's just segued this perfectly into what we're going to do next. She's asked, do you always edit on your phone or sometimes on your desktop as well?
It just really depends what I'm doing. So if I'm kind of on a trip, when I'm on a bus ride or a ferry ride, that's kind of when I'll just get started on my phone. Laptop's kind of only when I'm working from home or kind of maybe back at the hotel in the night. So that's what I like about Lightroom, is just kind of being to seamlessly go back and forth.
And we are going to have a look at some editing on the desktop soon as well, so stick about for that.
So then the last thing I'll do on the mobile phone is in the color panel, go into the mix tool. So that's in the top right-hand corner. And here is where you're going to get a lot of control on the different color elements in the image.
This is amazing.
This is like my favorite place ever. Like there's so much control here. The first thing I'm going to do is go into the yellow channel, and I'm going to play around here with the backdrop that's behind me. So the great thing about the color mix tool is that we can change the hue, saturation, and luminance, and only on one certain color in the image. So if I very obviously show you going down on the saturation of the backdrop, you can see it just does it to the backdrop. It would be a different story.
So clever.
Yeah. If we were shooting you, for instance, and you were on this yellow jacket, it would also desaturate your jacket. So that's why I like to kind of plan ahead and think like what tools I'm going to use. And
so that's what comes in the planning of selecting the outfit. So it's location first, outfit, make sure the outfit contrasts with the backdrop.
Yes. Because otherwise,
editing's much easier, basically.
Yeah. And because I don't really feature too much yellow in my feed, I kind of want to make it more like a rose gold color. So that's where I'll go into the hue. And you're kind of just sliding it to the left already is making that a little more like pinky, and sliding the other way makes that more greeny. So I'm going to kind of go to the pinky area, so kind of the warmth all fits in together. Or you can also do luminance. That just makes it the color that you're working on brighter or darker.
Okay.
So to the right, it's going to make lighter, and then that makes it darker. So you can kind of...
I mean, it's so subtle, it makes such a huge difference, doesn't it?
Exactly. So there's lots of different colors to choose from. If you go into the pink channel, that's where it's going to affect the flowers. So I can make them more saturated, more desaturated, so more dull, just depending on the look that I'm going for. Again, you can change the hue so it's more red or maybe more purple. I don't have many blues in this image, but if you had a photo of like the beach or a sky, come into these two channels. There's a like kind of a cyan color and then the blue. You can bring up the saturation of the hue.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
A question from Kerry. How easy is it to crop your image?
Very easy. I can show that for you now.
Okay, awesome.
So you just come into the crop panel, and it's different kind of actions if you're doing desktop and mobile, but for mobile you just kind of pinch it in and out like you're zooming.
Okay.
You can kind of rotate it. It's all very like flows very easily.
Yeah, it's amazing. Literally, you're pretty much editing the whole thing using a finger and a thumb.
Fingers, yeah. It's just very fast as well. So I will give that one a bit of a crop to kind of make the flowers more prominent. And then when you're happy with that, you can just, press done.
So thank you, Kerry. That's how you crop. That was a good timing as well. Anything else you want to tell us about this then before we move on to desktop editing?
I think the only thing in the color mix tools, I'm just going to go into the red channel and just make that a tad more saturated for the flowers. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy. I'll show you guys like a bit of a before and after here.
Yeah, do that. I love that you've got that on your Instagram feed as well. I'm obsessed with it.
I'm addicted. It's like cheeky before and after. So that's before. Again, it's a bit dark, a bit like greeny toned. And after.
I can't believe how much it's changed.
Yeah, and that was very, very quick.
Wow.
Only like a few minutes on just that thing. So yeah, the desktop is what I'll use for the more like fiddly bits. Yeah.
Amazing. Right, so we're going to move on to the desktop.
Yes.
Whilst you're getting yourself set with that, I will remind you guys, so thank you so much for your questions so far. They've been brilliant and actually like perfectly timed all the way through as well. So if you have any questions at all, even if you want to go back to thinking about, I don't know, personal style or how to use props or about using Lightroom, get that comment in the box and I will read out the question for you and Kelsey will answer it. It's been so interesting so far, by the way. Thank you. And competition-wise, you need to comment in the box as well, your favourite travel destination for a photo shoot. And at the end of this show, which is only in about 20 minutes, you haven't got long to wait, but you also haven't got long to enter, you get a year's free Lightroom subscription and a whole photo shoot starter kit put together by Kelsey as well. So get going with the competition and get your questions in, all right? And we're going to edit using the desktop.
Yep. So I've got Lightroom now open on desktop, and as you can see, my image that I edited just like syncs straight through to the mobile. So that just all works seamlessly. So I'll be spending a lot of my time in the kind of healing brush tool. So I think a lot of people get a bit intimidated by this.
Yeah, well, I've heard of like light and contrast and things like that. I've never heard of this. No, I've never used it, never heard of it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people might think it's more of a Photoshop thing, but it's definitely something you can do within Lightroom, which is great because I feel like I do all my editing in Lightroom and then just go straight to Instagram, basically.
So it's all in one place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
And what you can use
What does it do?
Yeah, healing brush. It's like a little magic tool, basically. It will remove things you don't want in the image. So all the times if I've got like travel photos and there's like one annoying tourist in the background, I can kind of
just photo bomber getting in the way.
I can just kind of fit them away. Or like things out of place. In this image, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it, but that kind of like on the left-hand side of my head, that big crease in the curtain, I think for me is like a bit too dark.
Not digging that.
Yeah, not loving that. So I'll start by removing that and show you guys like a few more tips and tricks of that. So first coming in, you've got the brush, so you can kind of increase the size. On desktop, I use the kind of 2 bracket columns. But yeah, I think it's a different action when you're using mobile.
Whilst you're doing that, sorry, I really interrupted you. I just want to remind you, so lots of people have sent images to you, haven't they?
Yes, yes.
And you've picked one person that you're going to edit their image after this, aren't you?
Yeah.
They don't know who it is yet, do they?
No, I think it'll be a bit of a surprise. So,
okay, so you have to say that if you are one of the many people that sent your image to Kelsey, stick about because not long until Kelsey will edit your picture. I mean, how amazing is that?
No,
it's going to be Kelsey'd.
Kelseyfied.
Kelseyfied.
Yeah, so basically, I'm hoping you guys can see on the screen, you can see the size of my brush getting larger and bigger. So I kind of don't want it too big, but just a bit to cover this kind of line that's going down the image. So to begin using the heal brush tool, all you have to do is basically just select the item that you want removed. So I'm just going to do a section of this to begin with to show you guys. I'm just going to click and then hold that click and drag it down the line. And now once I unclick, it's kind of going to automatically do it. So what it's doing is basically grabbing the information from elsewhere in the image to kind of blend it all together. So now that that's done, you can actually move where this selection is coming from. So as I move it around, if you go on the flowers, that looks weird.
Yeah.
This looks strange. Let's not go there.
I like that.
So you want to grab a background.
Double Kelsey.
Not for me. You want to kind of grab a background that is very similar to what is around it. And once you're happy with that, you can use the feather tool to kind of make that more blended. If you kind of, I think about it like kind of makeup, like kind of blending in the kind of contour, things like that. So you go left or right to make it more sharper. You can also use the opacity tool to make this more prominent, or you can kind of make it more subtle. So just a bit on the left there, that's like when it was completely before. But I kind of just want it straight out, so I'm going at the 100% opacity.
Got a question from Kaylee. Kaylee, do you ever use a tripod and not a photographer?
I mean, I do.
You're shooting on your own.
I do from the comfort of my own home, because I think I get a bit worried about traveling and maybe like people just running up and taking the camera.
Yeah, that would be scary.
Yeah.
Or in the middle of Rome or something, you've lost the camera.
So yeah, I do that a lot in my home, which is when I have my own time and can kind of go through it. So you can get like lots of ones from Amazon. They're really quite cheap. You can get ones.
So you don't need to get a really fancy one.
No, yeah.
So you can get one for your phone.
Yeah, you can get little ones for your phone, either ones that are like the really tall ones, or ones that kind of just sit on your table.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then you just get like, usually with that, you'll get like a little remote control. So it's a bit hard though, because you kind of want to, like you're holding it and posing at the same time. So when I did that, I would kind of click the button and then kind of like have that hand behind me or something. So you do have to think about that. Yeah.
So it's mainly when you're out on location that you have a friend to shoot for you.
I will use a tripod when I do my kind of like animated GIFs. So that's when you want like the image to be completely still. So using a tripod is great for that.
Okay, cool. I'm going to be looking at all your photos so differently now. I'm so fascinated by this. Thank you. Thank you for your question, Kaylee. Keep them coming, by the way. Just comment in the question box because we've got a bit more time, and we will have a bit of time for a Q&A at the end as well.
So I'm just going to finish more. So once I get to like, we're coming close to kind of my face, I want to zoom in so I can really see what I'm doing. So I'm actually going to make this brush tool a bit smaller so we can just go in a bit more finer. Wow. So we're going to start a new selection. So I'm just going to do a bit at the time. Again, just drawing a new selection.
It's just so smooth. Just again, it's like it's similar to using on your phone. You're literally using your finger, and it's just it flows, doesn't it?
Exactly. So you can just do a little bit at the time. I'm just going to move down a bit more. It's a bit more trickier when you
fiddly, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit fiddly, but I think, you know, practice makes perfect.
You've just done it instantly.
Yeah.
So it's just practice, keep going, just having a play. And
if it doesn't work, like this one obviously doesn't, you just select it and then you just hit the delete button and it will just disappear. So you might want to go in with like a smaller brush once you get to the finer things. I think there's something else in my image I will remove. So for example, we can remove like this petal here.
Okay.
Zoom out so you can see a bit more.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a hair.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it in the image, but just for the purpose. Yeah. So again, you just kind of select over it. And again, that's pretty much spot on. I just want to make sure my hairline is kind of matching up. So I'll just move it ever so slightly.
And you've been removing things, haven't you? Can you duplicate?
Yes, you can. So it's kind of a bit hidden. So on the top right panel where it says heal, if you click the drop down, there's the clone tool. Okay. So that's where you're like duplicating an image in the photo.
It's blowing my mind, Kelsey. It's amazing.
It's very easy. The thing I think a lot more people should use this because you can definitely add a lot more to image. So say if I wanted to go crazy and add a lot of petals into this image, what I would do is first you select the spot that you want the duplicate to go. So I'm just going to select this blank area here. And very similar to the healing tool, you want to drag this over the image.
It's the same, but just the other way around,
basically. And then you can kind of feather that in to make it look more natural.
Cool.
Yeah, so kind of zoom in. I mean, this I can come back later to fix.
Yeah, because we've still got a few more things that we want to do before we say goodbye.
But just to quickly show like a before and after. So that was kind of after my initial edits with the light and color, and then kind of removing and adding some objects in. Yeah. And when it's kind of zoomed out, it doesn't really it doesn't have to be perfect because most people are doing this online anyway. The images aren't that big.
Or on their phones.
Yeah.
So there's a photo you're going to edit, isn't there, from people that have sent their images to you. So who is this person and what is their photo? I'm dying to see this. Okay,
so the very lovely Ola has sent in a beautiful image.
Ola, if you're watching.
There it is.
It's your image.
It's a stunning image.
Congratulations. Wow. It's going to be Kelsified. I like this new phrase.
I absolutely love her photos, and this is like a really gorgeous travel shot. I wouldn't really be doing much this photo, but I think you just add a bit of brightness and a bit of I really want to bring out the blues and the ocean and the sky and make that really vibrant.
I mean, it's a great composition, isn't it, the photo?
Yeah, the framing is perfect. Her pose is spot on. She's got the accessories down pat. Like she's nailed all these things, but now it's just about
boss lady.
Yeah, nailing it in Lightroom. So yeah, similar to what I was doing on my mobile phone, I'll always again start with light here because she's kind of you can see the background, the ocean and the sky is obviously in the sun, but where she's shot kind of don't know what it's like some sort of balcony or something. That's in the shadow, so that's when I'll go to the shadow slider and really bring that up, and you can see such a difference already.
I mean, what we were talking off camera earlier, but about how you see this amazing view on holiday. You take a picture, you look at it, and it's a bit of a disappointment. It doesn't, do its thing. So this is kind of
because I'm sure
bringing out the original.
When she was there, those blues and greens would have been very vibrant. Yeah. Just depending on the type of camera that they use, it can be a bit lost. So, but it's fine because we'll bring that back. So, I bring those shadows up. However, I feel like the image is a bit flat, so it's looking a bit like kind of in the light. It's a bit flat, if that makes sense. So, I'm going to add that contrast back in, so it kind of pops. A bit more of the exposure. So if I do the exposure too high, you can see how that sky is getting lost. So a way to bring that back again would be bringing down the whites.
So I've got another question from Anna, and it's kind of in keeping with Ola's picture, actually. It's, if you don't want to show your face on Instagram, how would you go about composing a photo?
I mean, yeah, I love that. Because I was saying this.
Yeah, we were talking about it
my
before.
face in it, so
we all have those days.
Yeah, a lot of my feed you'll see shots where I'm kind of my back's facing the camera, and I like doing this because I think people like to kind of imagine themselves as me. Like, if they kind of can't see my face, they can relate to it a lot more. So I'll do a lot of like walking away shots, or as Ola has done here, like looking at the view.
And you said in one of your tutorials it makes the person feel like they're there in that location, part of it, so that's all good.
And it's just a lot easier because I don't have to worry about like, do I have a lazy eye, like, do I have double chin, like, it's just a lot quicker. So if I'm feeling a bit rushed for time, I'll definitely go for this kind of pose.
Cool, thank you. Okay, so we're finishing off editing, and the competition winner is going to be announced very shortly, by the way. So we've only got 5 minutes left with you. Any more questions, get them in quickly, and just stick about because you may have won the competition if you entered.
So I'm just going to show you a quick before and after so far. So this was the before and the after. So the light's really brought up. I'm really happy with the
She looks
colours.
so vibrant as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Kerry's asked how long, thank you, Kerry, for your question. How long does it take you to edit your images usually? How long do you take?
It really depends on the photo. It could be anywhere between 5 minutes to an hour. It depends on how much time I have as well.
Yeah,
so, yeah, I think it varies a lot between each photo.
Right, okay, thank you. Thank you, Kerry, for your question. So that's looking brilliant.
Yeah, pretty happy with the colour. If I can do one more thing, I think I'll go to the brush tool. So this is quite similar to the healing in that you can select one part of the image at a time. Often when I come to this panel, you just want to make sure that all these different options are just reset. So you can do that by quickly double clicking on each one so that they're all in the middle before you start. And so yeah, basically what you're doing is you've got this big brush tool here. You can start painting, but I like to do it with a color guide. So if you come down to the bottom of the panel and select kind of a more obvious color, so red. So then when I begin painting on the ocean, you can see it turning red. Like, don't worry, we're not actually turning it red, but it just as a guide. So you can see. So I'm just gonna do a bit of the ocean there. Don't worry if you get like a bit, I don't want it to go in Ola. So what I'm gonna do is, if that happens, you just come to the eraser tool at the top and you just erase that back. So it's very easy to fix. So now we've kind of got that sectioned off. If I turn off the color guide, it's still the same. But if I come down either to like the temperature and make it more cooler, you'll kind of see that coming blue. You don't want it to be too unnatural. And then maybe I might want to come and erase and take it off the rocks and like just apply it to the ocean. So we can come in there and just take that bit off the rocks. We can make it more of a greeny ocean. We can make it more,
Sorry, we're running out of time. There's so many questions. Emma wants to know, Lightroom looks amazing to use. Would you ever finish editing with Photoshop?
Yeah, I think for stuff like more fun, like animated GIFs or things like that, or maybe kind of, I like to add some sort of like surreal element to my photos. So sometimes I'll add like glitter or like a moon or something. So
the fantasy kind of
fantasy vibe. So Photoshop's great for that. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you, Emma, for your question. Lovely, and thank you, Ola, for sending your picture in. That's beautiful.
I mean, there's more to be done in it, but as like a basic before and after, I think it's a lot more vibrant. It's a stunning image.
So we have a competition winner.
Oh.
We have a competition winner. I'm jealous. Let's really quickly, because we've only got a couple of minutes, talk through what's in the... So you get a year free Lightroom.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
Solid.
What's in your solid?
Starter pack, we've got, the water bottle, makeup spray, which is just essential to every photo shoot. There's like a little handheld fan, a jewelry bag organizer, and a Vogue covers book, which is great for inspiration. Amazing.
So the winner is, drum roll, is Kate Winnie in New York. Her favourite location is New York.
Kate, I'm jealous.
And you say that it's because there's so much personality there. Amazing. Thank you. Well done. Well done, Kate. This is all coming your way, which is fantastic. So, wow, that's very cool. And thank you for putting all that together. That's amazing. So I've got to ask you one more question. I meant to ask it at the beginning. We've got 1 minute left, so I'm sorry, you've got to squeeze it in.
Fast.
Okay. How did you get into all of this? Because it's so amazing what you do, and you've got such a following, and it's only growing. How did you get into it?
Honestly, you'll be surprised to say that it was a complete accident. I work in graphic design traditionally, but I did work in fashion. So when I started shooting with the models, I kind of would play dress up with the clothes, and that's kind of how I started noticing people other than my mum and my friends started following me on Instagram. And from there, I kind of got my...
That must have been exciting.
Yeah.
There's real people.
It's still weird when I have people message me every day. I'm like, why do you follow me? But it's amazing. I love the support and the community I have there. So,
that's
couldn't
great.
be happier.
And just wrapping up, well, thank you so much. But very quickly, where next? We've got 25 seconds. What's next for Kelsey?
Back to my home country, Australia.
Back to
But I've
home
got a lot of travel the next month, so going to Paris, Portugal, Egypt as well, which is really exciting. Yeah, and then Australia, and then back for Christmas. Can't wait.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kelsey.
Lovely.
It's been
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you so much for joining us for our Lightroom Stories Live. And don't forget, Kelsey in London's got loads going on. Bye.